Alright guys, so today we're going to go over the Earthquake Werebear build, which I have two versions of. One is full life, one is low life. The full life I use for arena pushing, and the low life version I use for monolith pushing. So, and like monolith speedrunning in general. So we'll go over both of those. This is probably one of the most powerful builds in the game at the moment, so let's get right into it guys. So first of all, the skills I use Ice Thorn, Werebear, Swipe, Summon Thorn's Totem, and Earthquake. I do not have any points in my Shaman tree here to get Earthquake. And how can I get this one on my bar if I don't have the points in the passive, right? Well, you put 10 points into your Shaman tree, spec into Earthquake here, and then you go and remove your points in Shaman, and you can spec them somewhere else, and the Earthquake will stay on your bar. So that is how I do it. First of all, Ice Thorns. Ice Thorn is basically there to proc when you get hit, and you will gain some more armor, which will give you more damage mitigation. So basically, you get the nodes here, these two nodes, to get 40% chance to cast Ice Thorns when you're hit, and then you spec into getting more armor, and Ice Thorn Shield duration, and then you get the recast chance when it expires, right? So that is it for Ice Thorns. Werebear form, what we're really going for here, we're getting increased damage and crit chance if you use charge recently. So this is really good since we're always going to be using charge. You got charge, cooldown, recovery speed. The two most important nodes here are these two, and then you go for increased armor and armor. You go for these two nodes here are really important and really nice how they work. So for each spell damage percent increase that you get on your gear or wherever you want it, you will get increased melee damage and increased critical strike chance. So basically, everywhere you're going to try to stack as much spell damage instead of just increased melee damage, which will only give you one stat. You stack spell damage and it gives you both of these stats, right? So that is another really good note to get here. We go for the melee physical damage just to get into the stun chance. Stun chance, we use this node because whenever we stun anything, you will deal 100% more damage against these enemies. And how damage works in LE is that all of these multiplicative modifiers, they are multiplicative with each other. So you will actually deal double damage against anything that is stunned. So that is it for Werebear form. We use Swipe. Swipe you will only use once in a while against like tougher enemies, bosses, rare enemies that have like more health enemies to get more damage out of it. Because for the most part, your Earthquake will just deal enough damage. But we use it to get the buffs here. So whenever you attack with Swipe, at least one enemy, you gain a stack of Aspect of the Panther, and each stack increases your damage by and lasts 4 seconds. So this Aspect of the Panther, it will give you more damage here. It will give you attack speed and cast speed, global melee damage, and the important ones here. Increased critical strike chance. If you crit, you have more chance of stunning, more chances of dealing double damage. And then critical strike multiplier 100%. So this is just insane as well. All of these nodes are important. This one is not important. You could basically not put it in or just put it anywhere else, and you basically don't need it. So that is it for Swipe. Summon Thorn's Totem. We use Summon Thorn's Totem to get the chill here. We want mobs to be chilled so that our Earthquake will deal more damage against chilled or frozen enemies. So how we spec into this is we get the maximum Thorn's Totem. We go this way to get just the maximum amount. And then extra projectiles, more chances of chilling. We grab the two nodes here on the way to Venom Tipped Thorns, which gives us 100% chance to poison. And we convert our poison chance to chill. So basically, our totems have a 100% chance to chill, and if they do chill enemies, our Earthquake will deal more damage. So that is it for someone's Thorn Totems, and Earthquake here. So the bread and butter of the build. This one, I've worked a lot on this tree. I think this is pretty much optimal for us at 21 points. So we go for the initial hit damage multi. We go for increases to aftershock damage on this tree applies to the initial hit, but Earthquake can no longer create aftershocks. But we don't care about this. We only want to increase the initial hit damage, right? And then we go for Earthquake will now produce 3 initial hits. So that's why we only spec into initial hits. We go for initial hit damage. On the way to Earthquake deals damage in a cone. This will give us much more AoE, and it is really good. Like, at first when I was running monos, I felt like I didn't need this, but as soon as I started arena pushing higher and higher, and I kind of really liked the extra AoE that you get, because if you don't one-shot every single mob, you will want to have that big AoE. If you're training, for example, multiple mobs behind you or something. So you want to go for the cone for sure. You get this concussion for more damage. You get this one for the increased stun chance and the damage as well. The stun chance, because of course whenever we stun, we deal 100% more damage, so it's very important. We go here on the way to the Shadow Quake, more damage against chilled or frozen enemies. We grab 1 point into the slow chance. This one, if you're only running Monolith, you don't need it. If you're running Arena though, it's pretty nice just to be able to kite a little bit, to kite mobs a little bit more. So you get the slow chance, because slow and chilled together basically makes you able to kite any mob in the game. Aftershock deals more damage multi, so we got all the nice multipliers that we want, and the extra AoE and the slow. So that's pretty much it for Earthquake. Alright, let's go into the passives now. For the Primalist class, we use Primal Strength. We use, this is just base Strength. Strength will give you more percentage armor, and will give you also more damage on your Earthquake, right? So it's really good. We go for the melee damage and health leech on the way to the big node here, Ancestral Weaponry, which will give you 50 melee cold damage. So this is flat damage. This will be multiplied by all your increases, all your multis, all that good stuff. So this is like really big damage for us. We grab 1 point here because we need it to reach the later nodes. 10% increased health, and then this one, Berserker, is the best one in the Primalist base class. So you get more melee damage on low health. So this makes it so that in the Monolith, where I use the low life version, we're going to have 100% more damage. So we're going to deal double damage compared to the full life version. And we take also less damage on low health. So this will apply to our ward as well when we are on low health with stuff like Exsanguinous or stuff like that. And it also applies when you're full. Like, it's also good to take when you're full health, when you're running the full health build, because once you get to that 30% threshold, all the damage below this will be reduced by an extra 30%. And all these reduced damage are multiplicative with each other. For the Beast Masters, we've got Ursine Strength for damage taken from nearby enemies minus 16%, which is multiplicative with other modifiers. We got Aspect of the Boar duration when hit, okay? So Aspect of the Boar reduces your damage taken by 15%. With this other node here, though, it's an extra 15% granted. So it's going to be 30% damage reduction from Aspect of the Boar. And then you're going to have a chance to get Aspect of the Boar on melee hit. So very important one here. So we go with all of these. We go for 1 point in increased melee damage just to get to Aspect of the Shark, increase melee damage by 50% and melee attacks by 10%. This is just a nice little buff we needed to get to the later nodes. And we get 1 point in the Leech as well. In the Druid Mastery, which is the where we're going to spend the most of our points, we're going to go for Endurance and Armor. We're going to go for Vitality and Poison Resistance. Going for increased chance to summon Healing Totem when hit. We just need this one to get to the later ones. We get this one for the health. We get this for strength and increased crit chance. We get Hide Skin for health and max health gain as endurance threshold. Since we're stacking so much health, our max health gain as endurance threshold is going to be very good. So this is going to give us a lot more damage mitigation or EHP. And then we go for Ursine Maw and Briar Guard. So what this does is whenever you crit an enemy, you will gain ferocity for a duration, and this will increase your physical damage by 50%. This is not really what we care about. We care about the global critical strike chance, and we care about getting armor while in ferocity. So since we stack so much strength, every flat armor is really good. We're going to get to very high numbers of armors, and we're going to have a lot of mitigation from armor. So, and the Shaman tree we get 0. But as I said, you spec 10 points into the Shaman tree, spec into Earthquake on your skills, and then you remove the points and put them somewhere else. So that is it for the passives. We're going to go over the gear I have at the moment. Let's start with the idols. I will have a link in the description below for the gear planner, my ideal gear planner. This is not my completely ideal, but it is still very, very good. And as you can see, like all my... Okay, we need to transform. As you can see, my resistances are pretty good all over the board. And I have 63% armor uh, damage reduction from armor. And whenever I use my potion, I have 14% dodge as well. So we are super, super tanky. One of the tankiest class in the game for sure. So as for idols, here I have spell damage and poison res. I have chance on hit to summon a Thorns Totem. So this is how you summon your Thorns Totem. You will not manually cast anything because the only thing you'll do is charge, right? Charge and swipe once in a while. So you need this idol to summon your Thorns Totem, to proc the chill, to proc the extra damage. So that is it for the idol here. And I have 7% increased aspect of the boar effect. You can get some other stuff here. You can get also spell damage, but increased aspect of the boar effect will give you more tankiness, since aspect of the boar is the passive that gives you damage reduction when you melee hit. So you get 30% times 7% more, you know, so more EHP for you. I use increased health and elemental resist while transformed here because we want to cap our LA res. We got some nice double health idols here. I use this one because I needed the extra physical res. Actually, I need the extra physical res from this one as well. And you got this one for the crit strike avoidance because without it, I did not get my good blessing here. So ideally, I would like to get a higher roll on this critical strike avoidance. So I would not have to use this critical strike avoidance idol. But since I don't have it, I just use it for now to get my cap of 100% critical strike avoidance. As for the gear, you go for the Horn Cowl here to get the damage leech's health on hit, which is where you're going to get most of your health leech. And health leech is going to make you able to sustain a lot, even in very dangerous situations in arena. So health leech is best in slot here. You go for double cooldown recovery. You want to reach 22% cooldown recovery for your charge to be 1.6 seconds. If you can have higher than this, you need to reach 30%. If you have 30% cooldown recovery, you will reach 1.5 second on your charge, which will make the build even smoother and even better. So I go for double cooldown. Here you could use Earthquake possibly, but I feel like the cooldown makes it so much better. And you go for health and increased health. For the chest piece here, you use Wings of Argentus, which will give you 40% less damage while moving. This is why we use this. It's also nice because it gives you +1 to fire melee attacks, and because you're converting your Earthquake to fire, you get that extra point in Earthquake. So Wings of Argentus you can farm in the Stolen Lance Empowered version. It is a rare drop from the boss, so keep at it, guys. I believe you will find it one day. If you do not have the Wings of Argentus, you can also use the Titan Heart here. So Titan Heart will give you 15% less damage taken while wielding a two-handed melee weapon and a lot of health. So this one is a more common drop. Use Titan Heart until you can get the Wings of Argentus. For the belt, I use dodge rating on potion use, which will give us 14% dodge. Really good. I have minion damage here, which I don't need. I would like to have fire damage. And you go for health and increase health and hybrid health. For the boots, you always want to go for movement speed. I have strength on my boots. You could possibly go for strength or vitality. Both are very good. I have lightning res and I have hybrid health. All the passives here, all the resistances, suffixes here, You can interchange them with other slots. It doesn't matter where you get them, but as long as you get the important rolls, for example, hybrid health is very important. Hybrid health on the boots, hybrid health on the gloves are the very important rolls. So, for example, if you want to get for example, this lightning res on your ring instead of health here, then you would get the health on your boots instead. So they are interchangeable. On the rings, we have strength, spell damage, LA res, and health. This is pretty much all the rolls that I want. For and as the implicit here, I use the ivory ring to get the necrotic res, which will cap my necrotic res along with this necrotic implicit on the spirit catcher. For the other ring, I have the copper ring for increased crit chance with strength, spell damage, crit avoidance, and health. So basically, if you have a good enough blessing, you only use one roll of crit avoidance and your blessing, and you are capped at 100%. And your crit avoidance will make you, as soon as you are 100% crit avoidance, you never take any crit damage. For the gloves, I have these nice exalted gloves with plus 10 strength, 8 mana, which we don't care. We would like to have critical strike chance there. 38% void res and hybrid health. And on the relic, we have strength, crit multi. You could also use critical strike chance. I do believe critical strike chance might be even better because as long as we crit, we have more chances of stunning mobs, which will give us more survivability as well. And damage is not what we're lacking too much. So crit strike multi, you could use critical strike chance, health, and chance of frailty on hit. As for our amulet, we have Aurora's Time Glass. So this amulet is very nice. It is a new amulet as of this patch. It is on a ruby base, gives you endurance, but the most important thing that it does is whenever you reach 30% health or lower, this will heal you to full. And this is just a second life. It saves you so many time. It is absolutely insane. Um, yeah, once you find this is a very rare drop, but if it's just a regular drop, you can gamble for this as well on a Ruby Amulet, level 72. It is really, really, really OP, and I believe the 20-second cooldown to be healed to full might get a nerf because this is incredible, guys. If you do not have this one, you can just use any other amulet with spell damage, fire penetration, dodge, and health. This is the one I used before finding this other one, and like you can use any base because basically don't base your resistances based off of a bone amulet. Just try to get them on every other piece so you can always switch your amulet with anything else. And yes, the actual weapon, Boulder's Wrath. Boulder's Wrath is what makes this build works. A 100% chance to use Earthquake after using a non-channeled movement ability. So you farm this one in the Spirits of Fire timeline. It does not have to be empowered, and it is a very, very common drop. So what this one does is give you a lot of strength, melee physical damage, which is all converted to fire, melee fire damage, chance to shred armor, which is converted to chance to ignite. So we don't care about this. Well, the only thing we care is the 100% chance to proc Earthquake on movement abilities. So that is it for the gear. And let's talk a little bit about the blessings. The blessings, you want to go for the critical strike chance on the... so you want to go on the Black Sun for critical strike chance or crit multi. Or there is also... Give me 1 second. There's also the leech rate. So whichever one you get, grab one of these three. But the best one to get would be the leech rate, of course. But critical strike chance is also really, really good. In the Ending the Storm, you want to get chance to gain 30 ward when hit. In the Reign of Dragons, you want to get critical strike avoidance. You want to get the physical res in the Age of Winter. And then you want to get endurance in the Spirits of Fire. So you want to get your endurance to 60%. I'm currently at 59, so I would need to get a better roll on that one. But yeah, that's basically what you want. So let's go about how to play the build a little bit. So first of all, you want to transform into your Werebear form, and then you want to charge. as soon as you charge, Earthquake will proc. When you do damage, you have a chance to summon a Thorns Totem when you hit, right? So this will give you your Thorns Totem, and if you're against a big rare mob or a more health mob or a boss or something, you swipe once, you get this buff, the Aspect of the Panther, which let's remind ourselves that will give you a lot of critical strike chance and crit multi and a lot of nice buffs. So if you're against a mob that is hard to kill, swipe once and you just Earthquake like this while charging. So that is pretty much it. Oh no, it's actually not it. That is it for the full life version. Now let's go ahead and look into what I do for Monolith speedrunning version. So what I do for monos is I use my more than 30% cooldown helm. I use my movement speed, Chimera's Essence. I use the Boulder Fist to not leech life anymore because we're going to go low life. With these boots, the Last Steps of the Living. Last Steps of the Living, I believe you can farm in Blood, Frost, and Death. I would have to double check where to farm these boots, but I'll have the link in the description below for Tongue Collabs and the last Epoch tools, and you can check where they drop. You got the Ward Trail for increased movement speed. I use double Arboreal Circuit for movement speed as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the setup, guys. So with this setup, we have 89% movement speed pretty much all the time. And then whenever we hit and we get haste, we're up to 117%. So yes, our resistances are going to be pretty bad across the board, especially Void at -17. But even with all these resistances at 0, you would still be more tanky than most of the other characters in the game. So it is still super, super viable for Monolith, and you just go incredibly fast. And yeah, basically that is my speedrunning version of the build. So whenever I do monos, I go low life with this version. I don't change any passives. I don't change any skills. I do not use the crows. There's another version of the build which uses crows to get more ward, but I believe that we don't need it really. We're tanky enough. And when I want to go into arena, I just switch all of this back, and boom, we're ready for arena. So one or the other is really easy to change in between. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. I'll have some links in the description, as I said, for the optimal gear planner and all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.